Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next hour. India-EU looking at sealing FTA this year, says Ursula Von Der Leyen, holds wide-ranging talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi. Zelenskyy to meet Trump in Washington today, focus on minerals deal and security guarantees. Trump says Russia-Ukraine ceasefire to happen soon or won't at all. US President Donald Trump says tariffs of 25% on Canada, Mexico set to kick on March 4th, threatens extra 10% duty on Chinese imports over fentanyl. And in sports, Afghanistan eyes historic semi-final berth as they take on Australia in the final league game of the ICC Champions Trophy 2025. To strengthening India-EU strategic partnership further, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi welcomed European Commission President Ursula Von Der Leyen and the EU College of Commissioners at the Hyderabad House in New Delhi on Friday. The leaders also held delegation-level talks. Taking to X, EU Chief Ursula Von Der Leyen thanked Prime Minister for hosting them in New Delhi. She added that the European Commission's visit symbolizes how much the European Commission values its partnership with India. She also expressed how much she values her personal friendship with India. India and the European Union are strategic partners since 2004, and the bilateral ties have expanded and deepened across a wide range of areas. Earlier, EU President Ursula Von Der Leyen delivered her remarks in a special event focusing on the consequential partnership between EU and India ties in New Delhi. Von der Leyen said that she and Indian Prime Minister Modi share the same view for the joint partnership between India and the EU. She added that EU and India are uniquely placed to respond to this challenge together.
It is time to take our European Union-India strategic partnership to the next level. It is a time to be pragmatic, to be ambitious, to realign our priorities for today's realities. And allow me to very briefly map out my vision of the three areas which can take our partnership to the next level. The first is trade and technology. The second is security and defense. And the third is connectivity and global partnerships.
Ursula Von der Leyen also added a free trade agreement between the EU and India would be the largest deal of the kind anywhere in the world. She said that EU have agreed with Prime Minister Modi to push to get it done during this year.
A free trade agreement between the European Union and India would be the largest deal of its kind anywhere in the world. I am very well aware it will not be easy.
Economic, trade and tech linkages. Further, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also participated in the India-EU bilateral cluster meeting earlier today alongside several commissioners of the European Commission. Indian ministers Kirti Vardhan Singh and Nityanand Rai were also in attendance. Their conversation focused on connectivity and IMEC, green and clean energy, mobility and talent security, Mediterranean and EU expansion. India's Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, along with his ministerial colleague Jayant Singh, held a meeting with Roxana Mintzatu, Vice President for Social Rights and Skills, Quality Jobs and Preparedness, European Commission. The leaders held discussions on potential partnerships as well as on deepening academic, research and skill development engagements between India and the European Union. They also discussed to collaborate more for bridging learning and skill gaps, as well as for improving learning and skilling ecosystem. Both sides also agreed to create an architecture for continuous policy dialogues, for furthering the mutual education and skilling agenda, fortifying knowledge bridges and fostering deeper collaborations in education, skill development, research and innovation. And Professor Gulshan Sachdeva from School of International Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, joins us on DD India News Hour now. Thank you, sir, for being with us. First of all, a word about the global situation that has given a new impetus to greater cooperation between India and the European Union.
Well, you're right, absolutely, because India and the European Union, obviously, they're very close partners. More than 20 years, we have this strategic partnership. More than 200 billion trade, more than 100 billion investment in India and Indian investment in Europe. So many things are happening. We also have this. Today we had this meeting of Trade and Technology Council, which is they have only with the United States and with India. But the global situation, as you have mentioned, is totally changed. Today, transatlantic partnership, as we know, it's under stress. The major strategic challenge of Europe, Russia, and Americans are talking directly to Russia. So far, they have sidelined Europeans. So they are also looking for really reliable partners. So India and the European Union, two, big democratic entities working together, large economies. We have our own program of Make in India, as Ursula von der Leyen in her speech she was mentioning. India's Make in India program and also the Made in Europe program, so they can really work with each other. Similarly, the kind of challenges they are facing, the demography, failure of multiculturalism, decline in competitiveness. So all these things which are worrying Europeans, they feel that there is a certain partnership with India can really help them. Indian migration, Indian skilled migration, particularly mobility. India is also working with large number of countries within the European Union to have those agreements. Some of them are already in place, some of them we are negotiating. So there are a large number of areas in which we are working. And of course, beyond trade and investment, there are roughly about 50, all those dialogues which are taking place, from democracy to, the civil society, to human rights, to, industrialization, to energy, to urbanization, so, many other areas. So there are, and particularly in the technology sector and in the connectivity sector. We had the connectivity partnership, and then, we are also now working with all the European partners on India, Middle East, Europe economic corridors. So the agenda is really huge, and the geopolitical situation is such that both India and EU, they feel each other, that they can really work together in many areas.
Yeah, and this is perhaps the biggest delegation. Both parties have come up. 22 of the 27 EU commissioners are travelling and have had their meetings with several Indian ministers. Does this show the length and breadth of conversation and cooperation in the years ahead?
Well, this is really unprecedented, because normally, you have one or two commissioners, or in fact, when you have even the summit meeting, you have the European Commission President and their foreign policy chief. But here we have more than 20, commissioners. In 2021, we had this meeting when the Prime Minister had this meeting with all 27 heads of the, governments of the European Union. At that time, during the pandemic period, so, we had the virtual meeting. But that meeting really led to many things. We signed connectivity partnership, and our trade negotiations, which were frozen since 2013, those negotiations were restarted. So now we are actually negotiating on 3 separate, I would say, areas. So the trade, the free trade negotiations, as well as also investment negotiation, and also on geographical indications. So many things are happening. So once you have these kind of unprecedented large meetings, and anyway, I think by the year end we are going to have summit meetings. So many of the things which they are going to discuss. But more than anything else, because already things are working at various fronts. And today we also have the Trade and Technology Council meeting. But this shows the willingness of both the partners to show that there is a major geopolitical shift which is taking place in the world, and these two entities, those who believe in certain kind of values, you believe in democracy, you believe in multipolar world, you believe also in multicultural societies. So there are many things apart from your economic interests, but there are values which coincide. So there are many areas in which we can really work.
And in fact, in the think tank meeting in the morning, Ursula Von Der Leyen said that this partnership between India and EU has the potential to be one of the defining partnerships of this century. Well, does that lay out a broader vision for the India-EU strategic partnership ahead?
Well, I mean, absolutely. Because in fact, earlier what happened 20 years back, both India and China, they were the favor of the European Union. So they signed strategic partnership with China. They also signed strategic partnership with India. But in fact, at that point of time, they were thinking that China and the European Union, these two countries will define this century. But now we have seen things have changed. And now, of course, they also have a very strong economic relationship with China. But now, there are worries, because they feel that China is not opening the markets. China is also, investing into very key technologies, etc., in Europe, and they're also working closely with Russia, which they feel is a major strategic challenge for Europeans. So now they have become very, very cautious with China. A few years back, they signed an investment agreement with China. But that investment agreement is still not operationalized. This is still frozen. The European Parliament has not ratified that agreement yet. So now in this kind of situation in which there are worries about China, there is a tensions in the transatlantic alliance, and the Indian economy is growing, one of the largest growing economy, and then they feel that in many areas, whether in trade, technology, and in fact, many of the future areas, whether you're looking into artificial intelligence, you're looking into many other technologies, they feel that they can also partner with India, and then they can improve their competitiveness. So yes, I mean, I think they are looking very, very seriously towards India now.
And India and the EU have agreed to work towards concluding a free trade agreement this year. What will this involve, and what advantages will it bring to India and Indian consumers?
Well, as you know, we have been talking about this free trade agreement since 2007. So, a lot of discussions have taken place. In between, the world economy has changed. Today, there is urgency. You can see in one way, everybody is preparing for the tariff war from the United States. Every day we are hearing that certain kind of tariff is imposed on China or European Union and any other country. So there are worries about how do you really, somehow the global trading system is under attack. So within that, yes, these negotiations, as she herself has mentioned, are very, very difficult. But now the renewed, there is a urgency. So now after 22, when we have restarted these negotiations, as I was mentioning, now you are actually negotiating on 3 different strands. On investment, on trade, and also on geographical indications. The 10th round of that is going to take place next month. There are certain issues which still need to be resolved, but as I think she was mentioning, so what you really need is certain political urgency. And then she was mentioning that I have a full support for this. And similarly, I think she also must have spoken to our Prime Minister. So if there is a political will, and I think certain, of course, negotiations are difficult because there are certain issues about carbon taxation. There are other issues about services. There are data privacy issues. I mean, there are issues, but on large number of issues, I think there was certain agreements. But if there is a political will to go ahead with this, agreement, there is a possibility.
Okay, sir, request you to be with us as we go to the live presser between both the delegations, the EU delegation and the Indian delegation.
Your Excellency, President of the European Commission, European College of Commissioners, सभी डेलीगेट्स, मीडिया के साथियों, नमस्कार। यूरोपियन कमीशन प्रेसिडेंट और कॉलेज ऑफ कमिश्नर्स की यह भारत यात्रा अभूतपूर्व है। यह केवल भारत में यूरोपियन कमीशन की पहली यात्रा नहीं है, बल्कि यह किसी भी एक देश में यूरोपियन कमीशन का पहला इतना व्यापक एंगेजमेंट है और साथ ही कमीशन के नए कार्यकाल की सबसे पहली यात्राओं में से एक है। इस ऐतिहासिक अवसर पर मैं यूरोपियन कमीशन प्रेसिडेंट और कॉलेज ऑफ कमिश्नर्स का भारत में हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, भारत और ईयू की 2 दशकों की स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप नेचुरल है, ऑर्गेनिक है। इसके मूल में ट्रस्ट है, लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों में साझा विश्वास है, शेयर्ड प्रोग्रेस और प्रॉस्पेरिटी के लिए साझा कमिटमेंट है। इसी स्पिरिट में कल और आज अलग अलग सेक्टर की लगभग 20 मंत्री स्तर की बैठकें हुई है। विभिन्न क्षेत्रीय और वैश्विक मुद्दों पर सिंसियर और मीनिंगफुल चर्चा हुई है। हमारी पार्टनरशिप को एलिवेट और एक्सेलरेट करने के लिए कई महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय लिए गए हैं। ट्रेड, टेक्नोलॉजी, इन्वेस्टमेंट, इनोवेशन, ग्रीन ग्रोथ, सिक्योरिटी, स्किलिंग और मोबिलिटी पर सहयोग का एक ब्लूप्रिंट तैयार किया गया है। हमने अपनी टीम्स को एक पारस्परिक लाभकारी बायलैटरल फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट को, एफटीए को इस वर्ष के अंत तक संपन्न करने का निर्देश दिया है। फ्रेंड्स, इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रेमवर्क मजबूत करने के लिए इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रोटेक्शन और जीआई एग्रीमेंट पर भी आगे बढ़ने की बात हुई है। टेक्नोलॉजी और इनोवेशन के क्षेत्र में एक ट्रस्टेड और सिक्योर वैल्यू चेन हमारी साझी प्राथमिकता है। सेमीकंडक्टर, एआई, हाई परफॉर्मेंस कंप्यूटिंग और 6G में सहयोग बढ़ाने पर भी सहमति बनी है। हमने एक स्पेस डायलॉग शुरू करने का निर्णय भी लिया है। फ्रेंड्स, इकोलॉजी और इकोनॉमी का बैलेंस हमारी साझी प्रतिबद्धता रही है और इस दिशा में हमारा मजबूत सहयोग रहा है। हमने ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन फोरम और ऑफशोर विंड एनर्जी बिजनेस समिट करने का निर्णय लिया है। ईवी बैटरीज, मरीन प्लास्टिक्स और ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन में जॉइंट रिसर्च किया जाएगा। साथ ही सस्टेनेबल अर्बन डेवलपमेंट पर हम अपने जॉइंट प्लान को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। कनेक्टिविटी के क्षेत्र में इंडिया, मिडल ईस्ट, यूरोप इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर यानी आईमेक उसे आगे ले जाने के लिए ठोस कदम उठाए जाएंगे। मुझे विश्वास है कि आईमेक ग्लोबल कॉमर्स, सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ और प्रॉस्पेरिटी को ड्राइव करने वाला इंजन साबित होगा। फ्रेंड्स, रक्षा और सुरक्षा से जुड़े मुद्दों पर हमारा बढ़ता सहयोग आपसी विश्वास का प्रतीक है। साइबर सिक्योरिटी, मैरीटाइम सुरक्षा और काउंटर टेररिज्म पर हम सहयोग के लिए आगे बढ़ेंगे। इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र में शांति, सुरक्षा, स्थिरता और समृद्धि के महत्व पर दोनों पक्ष एकमत है। इंडो पैसिफिक ओशंस इनिशिएटिव्स, इससे जुड़ने के ईयू के निर्णय का हम स्वागत करते हैं। इंडो पैसिफिक और अफ्रीका में सस्टेनेबल और समावेशी विकास के लिए हम साथ मिलकर ट्रायंगुलर डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स पर काम करेंगे। फ्रेंड्स, पीपल टू पीपल कनेक्ट हमारे संबंधों का स्ट्रांगेस्ट एसेट है। हमारे बीच एकेडेमिया, रिसर्च और इंडस्ट्री पार्टनरशिप बढ़ाने पर भी आज नई सहमति बनी है। मेरा मानना है कि इंडियाज यंग टैलेंट यानी यूरोप से इनोवेशन कैन टुगेदर क्रिएट लिमिटलेस पॉसिबिलिटीज। हम ईयू की नई वीजा कैस्केड रेजिम का स्वागत करते हैं। इससे भारत के टैलेंटेड युवाओं की एबिलिटी को बेहतर मोबिलिटी मिलेगी। हमने आज तय किया है कि 2025 से आगे के समय के लिए भारत ईयू पार्टनरशिप का एक बोल्ड और एम्बिशियस रोड मैप बनाएंगे। इसका लॉन्च अगली भारत ईयू समिट के दौरान होगा। एक्सेलेंसी, आपकी इस भारत यात्रा से हमारी पार्टनरशिप को नई गति, ऊर्जा और उत्साह मिला है। ये यात्रा हमारे एम्बिशन को एक्शन में ट्रांसलेट करने का सबसे बड़ा कैटलिस्ट है। मैं अगली भारत ईयू समिट के लिए आपका एक बार फिर से भारत में स्वागत करने के लिए तत्पर रहूंगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. May I now request Her Excellency Ursula Von Der Leyen, President of the European Commission, to give her remarks to the media.
Prime Minister Modi, dear Narendra, ministers, commissioners, excellencies, friends, thank you very much for the very warm welcome. It is a taste of India's legendary hospitality, and today is no ordinary day. Europe and India are coming together, and as I read in the news, so are the planets. Indeed, today, 7 planets in our solar system come into perfect alignment. And that is a very outstanding event. And they say that this event signals transformation and growth. And that's exactly the moment we find ourselves in. The planets are aligned, and so are Europe and India. I'm here today with the whole College of Commissioners. And indeed, it is our first visit outside Europe since we took office in December. And this shows how much we value our partnership. We want to take it to new heights. India is a like-minded friend. We are the 2 largest democracies in the world. And under your leadership, Prime Minister, it has been thriving. We are bound by shared convictions and values. From resilient supply chains, we are shared interest to a free and open Indo-Pacific. We're working together. And today's exchange will set the path for the future of our relationship. We have to agree to work on a new strategic agenda. And I see 3 main avenues. First, We will work together on economic growth. The potential is immense. Europe is already India's biggest trading partner. Last year alone, we exchanged 120 billion worth of goods, and over the past 2 decades, our trade has tripled. All this is proof that our businesses and people want to work together. And one of the best examples of this partnership is the new Federation of European Businesses in India. It brings together 6,000 EU companies, which have created 8 million direct and indirect jobs in this economy. Now we have tasked our teams to build on this momentum and finalize our free trade agreement before the end of the year. We're expecting a lot of our trade negotiators. We told them they should surprise us. Now more than ever, the geopolitical content asks for decisive action. At the same time, we must take our Trade and Technology Council to the next level and connect research, innovation and market uptake. This allows us to tackle important economic challenges together and to build robust and diverse supply chains, such as, for example, in semiconductors, a very important topic we have been working intensively on. Because we know that economic security and growth go hand in hand. And by sourcing the products we need from partners we trust, we avoid harmful dependencies. And of course, we build stronger economies. The second avenue we should explore is a common tech agenda. On the clean tech, together we champion the International Solar Alliance. We agreed to launch a joint task force for green hydrogen. But today I want to focus on digital technologies where you excel. We are both powerhouses of innovation and entrepreneurship, the kind that only democracies can nurture. We share the belief that technology should serve the people and not the other way around. And here, artificial intelligence is a perfect example. It is advancing at a scale and speed never seen before. And Diana Renda, at the Paris AI Summit, you said, AI is writing the code of humanity. You're so right. I'm convinced that Europe and India working together can shape a future in which AI is a driver of a positive change in our economies and our societies. In Paris, we have both highlighted the advantages of a cooperative model for AI development, where the innovators have access to quality data and computing resources. And I'm glad to note that AI is a major focus of the Trade and Technology Council. The European AI Office and India AI Mission also agree on deepening the cooperation. And we will apply AI in the areas of natural hazards, climate change, and bioinformatics. AI should be at the heart of our strategic agenda. And the next AI summit hosted by you, Prime Minister, will take us forward. You can count on the European Union that this summit is going to be a big success. Our cooperation in the digital is not limited, of course, to AI. We are aligning and aiming at interoperability of our 2 digital public infrastructures, which are actually the world's largest and the world's most advanced. India's Aadhaar and the EU digital wallet aim to offer public and private services to nearly 2 billion citizens. And interoperability of our digital identities will strengthen ties even more between India and the European Union. Our digital cooperation has also an ambitious industrial agenda. We're committed to strengthen cooperation in semiconductor R&D and manufacturing, and we are cooperating in the future of secure telecommunication networks. In particular, our industrial associations have agreed to closely cooperate on 6G. Of course, technology is only as good as the people who can use it. And that's why digital skills are so important, and this is a topic very close to my heart. People are essential for Europe's competitiveness, yet we face a gap, and India can help to close it. Let's increase students and skilled workers exchanges. Let's share expertise, talent, and experience. And the third avenue I see in deeper cooperation is deeper cooperation in security and defense. For Europe, India is a pillar of certainty in an increasingly uncertain world. We know that authoritarian states are getting bolder, ignoring borders, threatening peace at sea. Now is the time to step up our security and defense cooperation on land, at sea, and in space. For example, cybersecurity has never been as crucial as today. Our cyber dialogue offers a platform for effective cooperation and information exchanges, because threats are evolving, becoming more sophisticated by the day. Maritime security is just as essential. The Indian Ocean is a lifeline for global trade, and ensuring its security is vital, not just for India, but for the whole world. We should also explore expanding our joint naval exercises, building on our very successful cooperations in the Gulf of Guinea and the Red Sea. Finally, we should deepen cooperation in protecting the cables that ensure data connectivity between India and the European Union. And on defense, we see avenues of cooperation. India is looking in diversifying its military supply and access to new capabilities. So does Europe. So we both, India and the European Union, can be partner in this topic. Prime Minister, dear Narendra, ministers and commissioners, we're going back to Europe full with fresh ideas for the future of our cooperation. There's a lot of good work to do. And for the summit later this year, India and the European Union together are greater than the sum of our parts. Together we are a powerful and we are positive signal to the world. The planets are aligned, so are Europe and India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. That concludes the press statements. Thank you for your presence, ladies and gentlemen.
That was Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Ursula Von Der Leyen, President of the European Commission, addressing the joint press meet at Hyderabad House in New Delhi. Professor Gulshan Sachdeva from School of International Studies, JNU, continues to be with us. Professor Gulshan, Ursula Von Der Leyen spoke of India being a pillar of certainty in an uncertain world. Your thoughts on the momentum being given to India-EU strategic partnership through this visit of Von Der Leyen and her team?
There are a couple of points which one can take from the statements from both from the Prime Minister and also from the European Commission President. One is obviously both of them highlighted that this meeting was very unprecedented, as we were discussing earlier.
Yes.
Just in the early in their commission, the first visit by more than 20 commissioners to India is obviously unprecedented, and then she was kind of saying that, even the planets are aligned, etc. So it means the mood was very good. The second, I think the major takeaway from this, that both of them have very clearly committed that they want to end this FTA negotiations by the end of this year. Now, this is quite ambitious, knowing that we have been negotiating for so many years and there are issues to be resolved. And the environment globally is pretty difficult when nations are raising tariffs, counter tariffs, then working on free trade agreements is not an easy task. But I think it means they really want to work together to set the global agenda on trade right. So this is, I think one has to see, but this is really very good, ambitious, I would say, target which has been set. Secondly, I think both of them have also clearly mentioned that we are going to have a summit meeting by the end of this year. And before that, there would be a strategic plan for the future is going to be prepared. So these are more technical work, which I think both the teams would be working. The second thing which I think they have also highlighted, apart from talking about defense, because now within defense, as we know that Prime Minister mentioned about working on maritime security, on cyber security, on counter terrorism, counter radicalization, and similar things Ursula von der Leyen has also mentioned. So it means one can also see a lot of defense cooperation happening in certain areas. And, this is also interesting because, this is the first time I'm seeing the European leader in India or anywhere else not really starting their speech with which they used to do Russia's war on Ukraine. So she never mentioned this, only indirectly something she mentioned. So it means the mood is very different. And she herself has mentioned that the geopolitical situation has changed very, very differently. The another point which I think the Prime Minister highlighted, that working together with the European Union on triangular development cooperation projects in Africa and the Indian Ocean. Now, some of these things were earlier also discussed, but they never really materialized because we never really came out with specific projects. In principle, some of the things were agreed earlier, but I think now it seems that there is a more seriousness toward this, working on triangular development cooperation projects in other developing countries. And then both have also talked about India-Middle East economic corridor. So they have given obviously onto connectivity a major focus. We know that it was announced on the outlines of G20 presidency meeting here, but later on, developments within the Middle East have somehow, because of that, certain things have not really progressed as we imagined. But I think there is a clear political commitment from both sides to work on India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. And the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen also, I think, spent quite a lot of time on artificial intelligence and how India and the European Union, in fact, she mentioned that this should be, the artificial intelligence should be the heart of our agenda. So it means this is one area where one can see a lot of things happening this year. In fact, India is going to have the Global Summit on Artificial Intelligence. And, at the moment, as we know that, both China and the United States, they are kind of top in the artificial intelligence. And the Europeans and India both have capacities. And a lot of things are happening. So they feel that they also need to put together certain things. And then they should not really lag behind as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. And another point which was made by her, that there are difficulties in competitiveness in Europe, but Indian skill migration, as we were discussing, and mobility and other things, in fact, so both these economies can really complement each other. I think these were some of the points.
And of course, we are short of time, sir. But yes, the underlying message, like you are indicating, EU chiefs trust on India as a responsible partner in the global world order is where we can sum it off. Thank you very much, Professor Gulshan Sachdeva, for being with us.
Thank you. Pleasure.
And moving on now, India's Home Minister Amit Shah chaired a key meeting to review law and order situation in New Delhi today. Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta and senior police officials, including the Police Commissioner and all special commissioners at the Ministry of Home Affairs, were in attendance. The meeting discussed ways to strengthen coordination between the Delhi government and Delhi police. Discussions also focused on enhancing the law and order situation in the capital and ensuring better collaboration between the two authorities. Indian metro systems are rapidly embracing artificial intelligence to transform maintenance practices. Speaking at the Second Excellence in Maintenance Systems Awards, DMRC chief spoke about the need to use AI effectively and efficiently. Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing metro maintenance by automating fault diagnosis and optimizing repair schedules.
Cybersecurity protocols need to be there, and these are things which keep on evolving. Because the cybersecurity, in fact, invaders, they keep on evolving their systems, so we have to be one step ahead of them always. Metros are providing connectivity to people, and there is more and more demand of having metros extending the working hours or operational hours of metro. So the maintenance window, again, it is decreasing. So now you don't have the luxury to, in fact, do a wild goose chase in maintenance, finding out where fault is there. So the thing is that the AI-enabled equipments, what will happen? It will tell you what to attend directly and what not to touch. So your time is saved.
India is celebrating National Science Day to commemorate the discovery of the Raman effect made by eminent physician Sir C.V. Raman. Taking to social media site X, Prime Minister Narendra Modi posted a video extending his greetings on the day. The Prime Minister motivated the young innovators and also highlighted the initiative One Day as a Scientist, mentioned in his monthly program Man Ki Baat, where the youth take part in some or the other scientific activity. Prime Minister Modi also wrote, "Let's keep popularizing science and innovation and leveraging science to build a developed India, Viksit Bharat." On National Science Day today, India's Minister of State for Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, flagged off indigenously developed e-tractor and e-tiller. Addressing the gathering, the minister spoke about India's technological prowess while mentioning the deep sea mission. He also lauded Indian Weather Department efforts to provide accurate weather forecast, while mentioning that there are more Indians in the list of top scientists of the world.
In his Independence Day address, referred to deep sea mission. He did that in 2023, 15th August. He again did that in 2024. A, that the government was giving it a priority, it was a flagship priority for government, and B, it could generate curiosity in the listener to actually try to dig out, find out, whether from your mobile or other source, what after all is deep sea mission or deep sea venture. And today, we are among the first few countries who have ventured into the ocean wealth, which is going to add value to the future growth story.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news in India. Following approval from the Appointments Committee of the Cabinet, Finance Secretary Tuhin Kanta Pandey has been appointed as the new chairman of the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, for a 3-year term. Tuhin succeeds Madhabi Puri Buch, whose tenure ended on Saturday. I beg your pardon, it ends on Saturday. The High Court of Allahabad has denied permission for whitewashing of the disputed Jama Mosque in Sambal district of Uttar Pradesh, though the court has permitted Archaeological Survey of India to ensure cleaning of the place in view of Ramzan. Indian Coast Guard ship Savitribai Phule sighted Indian fishing boat on fire 21 nautical miles from Alibag off Mumbai coast during its patrol. The ship responded to the situation and rescued the fishermen from the boat safely. The ship is engaged in firefighting operation. You're watching DD India News Hour, still to come on the show. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer discusses bilateral ties along with tough and fair Ukraine peace deal with Donald Trump. Veteran Hollywood actor Gene Hackman and his wife's death under investigation.
Geopolitics and trade deals.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I am Tanvi Taneja. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is in Washington to strike a minerals deal with the United States and discuss future aid with President Trump. Ahead of Zelenskyy's visit, Trump, however, said that the Ukraine president would sign the agreement on rare earths and other topics during his visit, but suggested Washington would not make far-reaching security guarantees.
So we're looking to do a deal with Ukraine where they're going to secure what we're giving them with their rare earth and other things.
This deal could be a great success, or it could pass quietly. And the big success depends on our conversation with President Trump.
The US president said that he thinks a ceasefire agreement with Russia will be agreed soon or won't be at all. Trump had earlier said Russian President Vladimir Putin would also have to make concessions in a deal to end fighting with Ukraine. Earlier on Thursday, Trump met UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer for the first time since the US leader took office. The meeting was focused on Ukraine and Britain's bilateral ties. The two leaders discussed tough and fair Ukraine peace deal with Donald Trump. Starmer emphasized that Britain was ready to provide military support to back it.
We discussed a plan today to reach a peace that is tough and fair, that Ukraine will help shape, that's backed by strength, to stop Putin coming back for more. And I'm clear that the UK is ready to put boots on the ground and planes in the air to support a deal, working together with our allies, because that is the only way that peace will last.
Further, Donald Trump said that a minerals deal with Ukraine is the security guarantee Kiev needs against Russia, brushing aside a plea from Starmer for a commitment of US military support. The US and UK leaders also discussed bilateral ties, on which Trump highlighted that both countries are working for a bilateral trade agreement, while Starmer emphasized that the deal will strengthen trading relationship between the two countries.
Will once again demonstrate the power of our country's unique friendship. This is indeed a unique friendship. It's been many years, and I think it's only gotten stronger, and we will make sure that it stays that way. We're going to have a great trade agreement. One way or the other, we're going to end up with a very good trade agreement for both countries, and we're working on that as we speak.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has invited more than a dozen European and European Union leaders to a Sunday summit to drive forward action on Ukraine and security. Office of British Prime Minister said that Starmer will chair a morning call with Baltic nations before welcoming Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy to Downing Street. Leaders will discuss the next steps in planning for security guarantees and how to strengthen Ukraine's current position with military support. Further, US President Donald Trump has vowed to enforce sweeping new tariffs on Mexico, Canada and China, citing the ongoing fentanyl crisis. Speaking from the Oval Office on Thursday, Trump confirmed that a 25% tariff on Mexican and Canadian goods will take effect on March 4th, alongside an additional 10% duty on Chinese imports. This latest move comes as Donald Trump accuses all three nations of failing to curb the flow of deadly drugs into the US. Notably, the fresh China tariffs will stack atop a previous 10% duty imposed on February 4th, raising the total tariffs to 20%. When asked whether Mexico and Canada had made sufficient progress in curbing fentanyl shipments, Trump stated that he did not see any improvement and emphasized that the drug problem persisted. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met Mexico's Foreign Secretary Juan Ramon in Washington, D.C. for bilateral talks. Mexico is working with the United States to reach an agreement on tariffs before an impending deadline. U.S. President Donald Trump had mentioned earlier that the new tariffs would take effect on April 2nd, about a month later than the previous deadline of March 4th. Meanwhile, Mexico extradited 29 alleged drug traffickers to the United States as Mexico was facing mounting pressure from the U.S. president to tackle drug smuggling. In recent weeks, the Trump administration has been engaged in a heated debate over how far and how hard to go in pushing the Mexican government to deal with the cartels. In the case surrounding the deaths of two-time Oscar winner Gene Hackman and his wife, the Santa Fe County Sheriff in New Mexico stated that the couple appeared to have been deceased for some time, though he refrained from speculating on the exact duration. The sheriff's office has applied for a search warrant, informing the judge that the circumstances of the deaths were suspicious enough in nature to warrant a thorough search and investigation.
We're not ruling it out. What I did state was there was no obvious sign or indication of a foul play. There was no immediate sign of foul play. Haven't ruled that out yet. This is an investigation, so we're keeping everything on the table. I think the autopsy is going to tell us a lot, and any evidence that we collect, but I haven't ruled any of that out yet.
And next we take a look at other stories making news around the world. The Vatican announced on Friday that Pope Francis had a peaceful night and is resting after being hospitalized for 2 weeks with double pneumonia. According to a medical update, his condition has shown improvement, but his prognosis remains guarded due to the complexity of his health situation. An AI-driven humanoid robot aims to address Japan's severe care worker shortage due to its aging population. It's designed to assist with critical elderly care tasks like changing diapers and preventing bed sores. The project aims to support caregiving by 2040, with hopes of independent use by 2050. As Japan's working age population declines, robots like IREC are seen as a potential solution to the growing labor shortage in elderly care. The Dominican Republic celebrated its Independence Day on Thursday. The country's president, Luis Abinader, attended a military parade after delivering his annual speech, in which he said that any gang member who crosses the border from Haiti can be prosecuted under Dominican terrorism laws that provide for long prison sentences. And on to some sporting action now. In the Champions Trophy, Afghanistan won the toss and elected to bat first against Australia in a crucial game in Lahore today. Afghanistan will look to continue their flawless run in the tournament, knowing that a win here would secure them a historic semi-final berth. Fresh from eliminating England with a thrilling 8-run victory, Afghanistan's confidence is soaring as they prepare to face the reigning world champions. Though Afghanistan has never beaten Australia in ODI cricket, they would be confident after they got the better of the Aussies in a crucial T20 World Cup encounter last year. Talon Griekspoor defeated top-seeded Daniil Medvedev to reach the semi-finals at the Dubai Championships on Thursday. Griekspoor had survived a first-round encounter with Roman Safiullin by saving 3 match points. He then eliminated defending champion Hugo Humbert on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Stefanos Tsitsipas advanced to the semi-finals following a tight win over Italian Matteo Berrettini. Fourth seed Tsitsipas took the opener in a tie-break before overcoming a second-set blip en route to a 7-6, 1-6, 6-4 victory. Tsitsipas will next meet Talon Griekspoor in the semi-finals. And one of the most talented players of his generation, the 10th world chess champion Boris Spassky, has passed away at the age of 88. Spassky held the title of world champion from 1969 to 1972 when he lost it to the American Bobby Fischer in a contest later dubbed as the match of the century. Spassky showed great sportsmanship during that match in the middle of the Cold War, which he lost despite winning the first 2 games. He applauded Fischer after losing the 6th game. Spassky has represented France in 3 chess Olympiads in 1984, 1986 and 1988 and was seen playing in the Jardin du Luxembourg in Paris during the 1990s. Spassky had been the oldest living world chess champion. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja. From all of us here in New Delhi, thank you for watching. Namaskar.